So, kia ora, collective, kia ora whānau, kia ora family, kia ora to the nation of New Zealand. I want to just share something. This is a message that that I felt to share. So I did a post the other day, and it was basically if you are believing in something in your heart to be true, then what happens when things turn up within your perceptual world that contradicts that truth? That's scary, right? Because we live in a world where everything's coming to the surface now, because there's a dawning of new light. So that can be scary, because then we look at the world that we have known, and it's not the same world. What does awakening mean? Awakening means that we are waking up within our own consciousness and within our own heart to the fact that we could have actually been living a lie. And so that's confronting, isn't it? And so when things begin to turn up within our experience, that begin to contradict what we have believed reality to be, then that is a process, and we are all going through this energetic process of sifting the wheat from the chaff. Okay, finding the inner truth. So there have been injuries and deaths from COVID. We can accept that. But we also need to accept that there has also been injuries and deaths from the injection. And so are we, what are our motivations? I think if we can have a balanced perspective, that requires us to, if someone says, this is the way that I think and this is my perspective, then what is being presented to us is an opportunity to consider it. And we can't consider it fully until we have the full awareness of the reasons why that person believes that reality. Okay. And if that person believes that reality because of their soul path and their intuition and their experience of what they have experienced and they have witnessed, then those are good reasons. Okay. And so whenever anyone presents a perspective, there are always reasons for the perspective. So before you judge the perspective, you have to find out the reasons for that perspective. Now, we have not had as a collective that opening up of transparency with our governing mind. What are the reasons for for this approach to protection? Because ultimately we're all the same within. We want our children to be protected, to be safe, to be respected. Okay, we want mutual respect, because we all want to feel safe and protected from whatever whatever we perceive the fear to be. Some people perceive the fear to be, that, and then the other team perceive the fear to be, the virus. And so, is there a balancing point? And yes, there is. And this balancing point comes through the greater awareness. And we don't reach the point of greater awareness until we actually we actually take the two perspectives, and we together, because we're whānau in this nation, we talk over the fence as neighbors. We say, oh, what are your reasons? Oh, well, this, that. It seems fair enough. And then the other person says, well, these are my reasons. Oh, wow, that's interesting too. I'm sure we can navigate this in a balanced and trusting way that is harmonious, because harmony is actually the key factor that determines fulfillment of what we seek. Okay, we cannot find the fulfillment of that which we seek without having a harmonious dynamic. Okay, and so whatever the perspective, we need to find the balance point, the balancing point, and we need to find the harmony, the harmonious collective vision for our nation, for our children, for the next generation, for the earth, okay, for our spirit. So this world of the external reference point of what we believe reality to be, we have a physical grid of the economy of what we have known, the econ of me, this will become obsolete, because this world has to make way for the new world. And this is the new world of our spirit. And yes, the gates of hell cannot prevail against this new world. And so, and so we find the balancing point. So I think for myself, I have assessed the situation, and I think for myself personally, I would rather eat potatoes, find shelter, be warm, and have love in my heart, than have fear and be in discord, and to be in under this regime of fear. Fear does not protect. Okay, that fear does not protect us. Awareness does. Awareness. So with that said, we need heart-led leaders that will move into position that have the greater awareness, and that great awareness comes from the heart energy, listening, living through the heart. And so this world of the artificial mind that promotes the artificial vision of the artificial health, that gains the artificial acceptance, this world does not have a hold on me, and that's what makes me free, and that's what makes me powerful. And why are we fighting for something that we already are connected to? We're connected to the earth, we're connected to one another, we're connected to our spirit and to that emotional guidance system. And so if we're not in that flow, that's because we're in fear. It's that simple, really. So good luck if you want to mess with that new world, because honestly, that world comes from the angelic realm, from the ancestors, from the spiritual team, from the divine reflection that we can see ourselves in the mountains, in the rivers, in the oceans, in the bird life. We know that this is who we are. We are New Zealanders. Okay, We are, this is a spiritual land. Right. So, so there was a question I don't understand. Sorry, I read it, but I didn't understand. Okay, so here we go. Here comes the understanding. There is an energetic shift of consciousness happening globally that moves us as a civilization into the balanced position of awareness so that we can navigate a new world that will serve the spiritual principles of heart-centered living. These are the days of Aquarius. Okay. The emotional and mental storm that has hit us in 2020 and 2021 is going to become the catalyst to the spiritual revolution of our time. Why? Because the spiritual revolution requires that we see without eyes and know without mind. We are finding a new set of eyes to see beyond the surface representation of our reality, and a renewed mind that sees through this mass conditioning. Okay, that comes from the artificial mind. When we allow ourselves to see beyond the surface presentation of our world, then we are finding the deeper and more powerful world. This is the world of our higher self. This is the world of the awareness. This is the world of our spirit. And it's clear that our beehive does not choose to offer the open, transparent, balanced perspective of both views. And there's a reason for this. Perhaps independent information and trains of thought that reveal the greater awareness are excluded because they compromise the surface narrative. I'll just scroll down. That is designed to keep us living in fear. Have you ever made a promise to yourself? Okay. Have you ever made a promise to yourself? Right. Then you know only within your own heart that when the time came to act on that promise, you have to see the test. You have to see the storm, and you see it as the fulfillment of the promise that you have to yourself, because we cannot fulfill the promise that we have to ourselves unless it is tested. So we see the storm as the opportunity, and we yes, here is the storm, it is coming, and hey, here is the opportunity to change the outcome. This is the open door that we have towards our fulfillment of that promise. Okay, so sometimes we make promises to ourselves. And this is when we make promises to ourselves. What does that mean? That means I'm choosing no longer to lie to myself. I'm choosing no longer to contradict myself. I'm choosing no longer to hide all the ways that I hide my own darkness, my own lies that I tell myself, my own contradictions and conflict. The conflict within myself. Okay, we bring the heart into alignment, and when the heart energy finds its charge, and we find the inner promise that we make to ourselves, and then we find something. We are not chasing anything, we are finding things, right? And so, with that said, when our back is against the wall, this is a dynamic that we face when we make a promise to ourselves, and then we are in the situation when our back is against the wall. Okay, and we follow the higher principle of standing in our inner truth. And how do we do that? So when we perceive an enemy, whatever that enemy is, we perceive it from the external referential point, but the real enemy is in our consciousness. Okay, and so what happens is that so we have a perception that we are against the wall and there's nowhere to go and we are trapped, and that enemy is approaching us. Okay, and we're trapped when our backs against the wall, but we're holding the promise to ourselves, and we're holding the inner truth that we know, and we think, okay, what do I do now? And I'll tell you what you do is that you turn around and you face the wall. and you look at the wall and you go, Am I contributing to this wall that my back is backed against? And the reality is you probably are. And so you look at it, turn around and you look at the wall instead of looking at the enemy. And you go, how was this wall built? And so you look at the bricks and you say, what can I own? Where is my darkness? Where am I hiding? How am I contributing to this wall that I'm backed against? And then we find the building blocks and we go, oh, that's mine. Pull it out. It creates a little hole there and a bit of a weakness in the wall. And then we go, yeah, I can own that. That's mine. So we take that bit and then we go, yeah. And we figure it out and we pull the other stone out and we go, shit, I'll take that. That's mine. I'm contributing to that. And what happens is the wall becomes a bit weaker. And eventually, as we own our shit, the wall starts crumbling down. And then we realize, oh, there's no wall there anymore. And then we turn around and we go, oh, that's right. You're behind me. And that's the consciousness, the enemy in our mind. And we go, oh yeah, you're behind me. Get thee behind me, you know? And so that's it. So that's how we move through the storm. And the perception that we're backed up against the wall. And this reminds me of a song that we used to sing in New Zealand. And it goes, and if our back should ever be against the wall, we are together, you and I. It's not pitch perfect. I'm not perfect, but I am real. So, there you go. You got to have a balance, eh? And so when our back is against the wall, we follow the higher principle of standing in our inner truth, and we turn to face the wall within ourselves. And so when we face the wall within ourselves, what are we doing? We're transmuting that energy. And so those who don't know how to do that, they're swept up in the control and they're taken off to the land of broken promises. And they begin to believe their own lies and illusions. And it's just a dark fucking place. And so if we want to live and be the living presence, then we need to actually become more aware. And that's the spiritual principle of our soul evolution. So blessings, love, and light to all, and have an amazing Christmas, you amazing people of New Zealand. And yes, we can do this. Namaste. Namaste.